Hello, wonderful people. I honestly and truly thought I would be one and done with the Matthias Crisis, but there were so many comments on my last video urging me to watch the follow-up live from Dr. John with Lauren by his side that I had to check it out. And I'm here to say damn you people to hellfire for making me do that. But seriously, folks, watching that video did compel me to make this follow-up video. If for no other reason, out of mercy for any audience members who are suffering from a cognitive dissonance influenced migraine, and to assist Dr. John in his future script writing for any future face-saving videos he intends to make. Yes, folks, at the end of this video, after I decode what you heard in that professorial 3-hour live, I will offer a very simple, much more approachable, relatable, and coherent script outline for what Dr. John was trying to convey there. But first, let me untangle what Dr. John was trying to do here with Lauren by his side. As a reminder, Lauren did a 9-hour live stream to present evidence that she was being stalked and harassed. The title and thumbnail were alarming. She called the other party a stalker over 400 times. She showed us evidence of her personal breakdown as if she was presenting it in court. And she told us that the other party's actions met the statutes for stalking in court for a temporary stalking order. This was deliberately presented to us to lead us to believe that she is under imminent danger, and she told us that a court agreed with her on that for a temporary protection order. But then we learned that even though she had the opportunity to turn the temporary protection order into a permanent one, she decided not to and blamed law and crime for that, saying that she didn't want her child's trauma put on blast. We then find out that the judge ordered law and crime not to air any information about any minors, so that was off the table, and that the judge had already indicated that he saw most of the evidence they presented thus far as protected speech. And we learned through more people speaking out online that Lauren was not fully honest with us about how those situations played out. There was an immediate backlash after this live stream. They lost a lot of subscribers. Some family members in the Valodable case expressed their hurt over the ways they were treated by her and about the revelations that came out in the aftermath of that live stream. And many creators lambasted John and Lauren for their entitlement and dishonesty. This resulted in the live that I'm responding to now, called The Price of Truth, to explain their actions and justify their reasons for what they did, as well as to double down on their ideas of being stalked and harassed. If your view makes up one of the 195,000 views on that video and you're still trying to figure out what they were trying to do there, let me break it down for you. And let me put it to you in the words that they didn't say, because what they didn't say is actually much more important than all the words that they did say in that 3-hour video. While they made defensive and passive-aggressive jokes about the backlash.
My eyebrows are a sin.
Right. Yeah, you might have to shave those. To all the haters who are claiming that you're lying and that this can't be stalking, I say to them, I challenge them to look again.
They never came right out and said that they are responding to backlash. But I can assure you that if they hadn't gotten all that backlash, they would not have made this video. They never acknowledged that there were big discrepancies in what Lauren said in her 9-hour live and what ultimately came out in the court documents and court audio. One big glaring example is this, that Lauren said she didn't go through with getting the permanent protective order because law and crime was going to stream it and she wanted to protect her child. And then we subsequently learned that law and crime would not have been able to do that anyway. Lauren had to know that this would eventually come out, but she still misled her audience. And when she did that, she lost our trust big time. There were several other instances of misleading discrepancies that really lost her audience's trust. They pulled out volume after academic volume about the psychology of stalking and cyber harassment, while barely acknowledging the intellectual dishonesty they are displaying by applying academic standards to a situation where they tried to make a legal case and declare someone a legal stalker, all in a true crime genre. On top of that, they're barely acknowledging that they are reading academic texts that apply to ongoing direct contact and physical contact, not contact that happens via public social media. This may seem like a small difference, but in the court, an inch is a mile. Doubling down with 50 academic texts and picking out only the parts that work for their narrative is not only dishonest to the audience, it's extremely unethical as a practice for a mental health professional like Dr. John. And it's glaring in our face and really insults our intelligence as an audience. And keep in mind, this was done after Dr. John spent an inordinate amount of time at the beginning of the video explaining the idea of confirmation bias and how you shouldn't use it in these situations. Practically everything they describe as issues applicable to the other parties and the haters in the backlash that they don't even acknowledge are actually displayed by them in their video. At one point, Dr. John spends a great deal of time addressing the issue of free speech, but turns it into a moral and ethical issue rather than ever acknowledging that the first venue they chose to launch this fight was in court, where the standard of free speech is paramount. I completely agree that people violate the boundaries of free speech all the time on the internet and use it as a shield when they go too far. But unfortunately, we don't get to call someone a stalker when the court says their speech was protected by the First Amendment. Again, they chose to launch this fight in a court of law where freedom of speech is paramount, and then they didn't take it to its conclusion where the court would have said this is free speech or not. They took it out of the court and then they took it to the court of public opinion. So now we get to determine whether we think it was free speech or not. And only after moving this into the court of public opinion and getting backlash, they're trying to fight this on a moral, ethical basis. Unfortunately, you can't have it both ways. The most galling thing to me about this entire video is that they act like they're victims of this backlash that they're responding to while barely acknowledging that there's any backlash at all, and never even acknowledging that they're the ones that kicked open the door to the backlash in the first place. Now, let's be very, very clear about this. We would not be talking about this if Lauren had not made the choice. Again, the choice to go live for 9 hours and bring her personal gripes to the public. Even if she was 1,000% correct in everything she said in her 9-hour live, and even if she really did have a stalker, she surely would be getting more sympathy and support online, but there would still be backlash because that is the unfortunate nature of the internet. None of this changes that they made a very deliberate choice to fire up their large platform and tell us about all this very private stuff that we would never have known about because they wanted to control the narrative, all while accusing someone we've never heard of, and the majority of us would never have heard of being psychotic, oppositional, obsessive, rejected, and controlling, then turning around and saying that those people incited hate and violence against Lauren and John. So for people who want to spend 3 hours pulling out psychological textbooks and change the free speech argument from a constitutional one to a moral and ethical one, this was way out ethics. Now, Lauren and John, especially Dr. John, who was speaking through the majority of this 3 hours, you didn't ask me to do this, but like any good professional, I'm prone to anticipate the needs of people, the needs of the people I work with. Even though I'm not working with you. I'm being cheeky here, but indulge me. If I were Lauren and John and I had followed through with the bad idea to go to court of public opinion, to call someone a stalker without a court order, all while misrepresenting important facts that would be revealed in a court audio and documents. And if after doing that 9-hour live, I received a lot of backlash and decided to do a 3-hour live with my co-host of a psychologist's husband, here is a basic outline of what my script would say. We understand that many of you disagreed with us using our platform to call someone a stalker, even though we do not have a protective order against anyone, including the person we called a stalker. So let us clarify our position. While it is true that we do not have a protective order from a court, we very much feel stalked and harassed by this person and hoped that by taking the matter to court, it would help, but clearly it didn't. We still believe that this person meets the legal definition of stalking in some states and plan to pursue protection orders in those states. And while we pursue this in court, we will not engage in any more public discussion on this matter. But in the meantime, people have threatened to release private messages between Lauren and others that may not put Lauren in a positive light. If you see those messages or a person who is named in one of those messages, please know that we are addressing all those matters privately and sincerely apologize to anyone who was hurt by anything Lauren may have said in private. And that's it. I mean, let's face it. You shouldn't have brought any of this to the public in the first place. And by now, I'm pretty sure you agree with me. But since you did bring that public, you made it more visible than it ever would have been if you had just kept it at the court level. And now that we've all had a chance to see everything, the true crime audience can see what's at the core of this issue: a deep fear of exposure and a deceitful, over-controlling nature. You still have a chance to recover from this, so please consider my advice and do better next time. Thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already, and peace out.